So welcome to the very first workshop put on by the Portage Innovation Center. Hopefully there's many more to come. I want to thank Ken Reimer from Heartland Community Futures, Whitehorse Plains. And I also want to thank Andrew and Caroline from Futurepreneur for presenting tonight. And we're going to be learning about some resources that are available for business planning and for individuals who are wanting to start a business. And now I will turn it over to Ken.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. I don't know. I think, Ashley, I'm going to get hypnotized by your clock behind you there. So, yeah, as Guy mentioned, I'm Ken Reimer with Community Futures Heartland and also Whitehorse Plains. So I'm, I guess, looking from the workshop description there, just some key things that I took out was free resources available to you in the city of Portage, in-person consultation, financial resources, and insights on how to leverage some of these resources. So I'm going to hopefully touch on a bunch of those. I know Andrew has a lot of information about those as well. So I'm just going to share my screen here. I made a bit of a PowerPoint, so we'll see what happens here. Well, you don't need to see my email. How's this? Can you see the screen? Excellent. All right. So we grow communities one idea at a time. There we go. So it's basically, my theory is it's us versus the rest of them. So everyone knows what banks and credit unions do, but there is absolutely so much more to the entrepreneurial story than just getting money. So getting money is kind of the easy part. And we're going to talk about what else there is in addition to just getting money. So for us, we got 4 staff there. You can see our very pretty pictures there. I'm on the right-hand side there. To my right is Alana Bolton. She's the manager of business development. So she does all the lending and business plans and cash flows and things like that with clients. Penny Schoenbert is the one on all the way on the left of the screen. She does our community development work and a lot of training sessions with clients. So this time of year, we're really busy with putting on some workshops, training sessions. We got one next week. We got one the week after. So take a look at our social media, and they're all done on there. And then we have Stephanie McDonald. She manages the office. So basically how we're different, we have 268 offices across Canada. So we have 16 in Manitoba, and you can see there we are. We're the purple on the bottom, right on the bottom in the middle. And so Community Futures Heartland, and so we have 16 in Manitoba. So we operate in rural Canada as independent nonprofit corporations. So the nonprofit part is quite important because we don't make any money on any of our lending that we do. As far as making our salaries or payroll or anything like that, we're not a bank. We are not supposed to make money. In fact, I got in trouble about 2 months ago where I had a little bit of money sitting there, and our funders said, not allowed, get that out into the community. And so we do not push loans. We make it so that the lending makes sense for the clients. So you can see we're in the city of Portage La Prairie there. And then we also do the arms of Portage, St. Francis, Cartier, and Headingley, all the way into Winnipeg. So we have about 62,000 people in the Heartland region. And then our main office is there is in the city of Portage. So what is it exactly that we do? Well, our main priorities are basically 2 pillars. So the business development part of it. So we do loans, but in addition to the loans, we'll do a lot more business plans with clients and a lot more financial plan assistance. So clients will come in and say, the credit union, the bank, they can give me money, but they want to see a business plan and I don't know how to make one. So that's where Alana steps in. We do have these startup business plan workbooks and checklists. I have dropped a bunch of them off at Red River College this afternoon. And so feel free to go there and pick some up. They're great resources. They're kind of hot off the press. They were just made last year.
We're actually mailing those out, Ken. So anyone
Okay.
who registered for this evening, we're sending a care package out for the information that you dropped off.
Perfect. So they have a lot of information there of how to make your business plan, either for us or for a bank or whoever you need. We also do financial plans. So if people come in and say, I need a cash flow, or even, I'm losing money, but I don't know where, we'll take a look at it. And all these services are for free. So then we do community development, special projects. We teach junior achievement. We do training seminars as well. And then we have a self-employment assistance as well. So basically that program is, if anyone's on EI, if you start your own business and you start to make money at this business, EI will claw back all these benefits from you. And so if you work with us through this program, your EI benefits continue fully, and you can make as much money in your business as you want, but you'll still continue to receive all of your EI benefits while getting all of our help for free as well. So the loan funds, they're all repayable. We also have a special loan fund called the EDP program. So it's just Entrepreneurs with Disabilities program. So as long as you can self-declare you have a physical or mental disability or even a health condition, the government just wants to make sure that there's funding available for everyone in every category that they are. And so the lending part is the same, but there is just money set aside for all the people. Has to be a for-profit venture. 150,000 is usually our maximum that we lend out, about 5-year terms. So we attempt at about 10% equity. So if you go to a bank and you say, I want to buy this $100,000 building, the bank's going to say you need $30,000 cash of your own to put in. And so we say, well, let's look at 10% and let's see what that gets us. And so we are definitely a riskier lender, high risk lending. We do encourage the entrepreneurs to go to financial institutions first, and then they come to us. And so with that, we take on riskier loans, and we definitely have to have less equity put in by the client as well. So that's how we're different as well. So we assist with a business plan and cash flow. We do an in-house assessment, so nothing goes to Toronto or Ottawa to the RBC head office. No numbers get stuck into a computer to see if your ratios are correct. We do a lot of character lending. We have a board of directors that probably knows everybody in our region, and so they give us feedback. They take a look at it and say this is a feasible business or not. So it's all done locally in-house. So then that there's realistic expectations put on you. So if reasonable, we allow the banks to take over the position to make a deal work. We'll secure personal properties. We only do loans. So some examples of businesses that we've done in the region. It was a restaurant, and the restaurants are inherently high risk. There's very low margins if you don't know what you're doing. So the banks pretty much all banks automatically say no to a restaurant. So we lent them for renovations and equipment. Of course, there's nothing to take then for security, and we lent them some money a year later to purchase it. They had steady growth and good income. The bank just chose not to loan for a new restaurant. And what happened about 3 years later, the bank said, wow, you guys are doing really well. You know what you're doing. And then they bought us out. There was a hotel. The client was working there. It was in small town Manitoba. It was a community gathering spot, really. That's pretty much the only, the numbers kind of made sense. There was okay dollars, but it was a community gathering spot that we wanted to maintain in the region. We knew that people gathered there after 5 o'clock, and we just didn't want to see that community lose that. So we helped the client purchase that. There was a fitness gym, all leased equipment with no equity. The owner it was basically, we kind of lent it on the owner's reputation in the community. Extremely hardworking. No bill was ever unpaid. And so she just needed a few extra dollars, and we helped her out there. A food vendor cart. A client had trouble a couple years ago. They needed a new food vendor cart, and the banks just said, we don't want to ever have to collect on a food vendor cart. The client was hardworking. We saw, some good potential in them, and we lent them dollars, and that worked out as well too. So here's some contact information, which you can't, I won't give you time to write down, but we'll get that to you. So basically on the, so when we take a look at, new businesses that come in and people that say they want to start a business, really we ask them, initially, what skills do you have? Evaluate yourself. Where do your interests lie? What are you good at? And then definitely, how much can you afford to lose? What kind of lifestyle do you like? Do you want to work 16 hours a day, or do you like your 9 to 5? So are you ready for that kind of commitment? Then we take a look at, so where do you find business ideas? So, how do you get into business? Get some feedback from family, friends, do some surveys out there, and just see what exactly your need is. So then how do you get that good business idea? Does it solve a problem? If it does not solve a problem, then you better have a very high marketing budget as well. Who are you selling to? What price point? Conduct a SWOT analysis of your business idea. So that leads us to the business plan. So why should you write a business plan? And these are all the things that when people come in, we'll review with them for free. We'll give you this workbook to go through, but it basically tells you how to get to the end when there's some detours. You have to plan your entire probably about 5 years of your business out. It'll also help you get money. No one's going to lend you any sort of dollars without some sort of a completed business plan. The financial part will tell you how much money you need and when you need it. Maybe you don't need money now, but in 3 months when the first shipment comes in, you may. Helps you clearly think about what type of business you're starting. So maybe you're starting a bowling alley, but actually maybe you want to advertise it as more of a fitness or a gathering place, or maybe it's the arcades in there you want a business. So it really gets you thinking into what exactly type of the business you're going, and it asks you the hard questions before you start the business. What happens when when things go bad? How are you going to get out of it? It gives you checks and balances to avoid a lot of mistakes. It sets benchmarks, helps you develop a competitive spirit because you have to think of the entire business and then analyzing your competition. You take a look at them and then you decide what you're going to do better than them, and how to beat them to a lot of the markets. So the business plan, again, it's in the workbook. You make your title page, you color a lot, executive summary repeats everything, and it just goes on, financial, and then your appendices. So we have the 5 C's of credit when you do want to get some financial resources. So we're one of them, and then all the banks, they're going to take a look at these 5 C's: the capacity, the capital, collateral, character, and conditions. And basically, you have to have at least 3 or 4 strong ones of those before you're going to be able to get any financing from these people. So funding sources, of course, family and friends, that's always a good and a bad one. We do talk about leasing as well, leasing your equipment. So there's trade credit, 30 interest-free 30 days, and then 2% after that. Credit cards, risky. It's really easy money. There are some government programs, which I'll get to shortly here. And then there's, of course, banks and credit unions. And of course, everyone has to have a business bank account. Don't start mixing your personal and your business together. It just gets very hard if anyone wants to finance you to know how your business is doing. So some credit sources there. Of course, I had to put Futurepreneur on first there. There's the self-employment assistance program that I talked about, banks, credit unions. There's a young entrepreneurs program. It gives $4,000 to anyone under the age of, you guys might know better than me, Andrew. I think it's 39 now. Journey Persons program. So if you're going into a Journey Persons, or you are one and need more training and things like that, they do offer financing to the employer. The Business Development Bank of Canada, the BDC, they label themselves as the Canada's business bank. And so they do large dollar amounts as well, like in the millions if you need, but they also do smaller ones. Then there's, of course, us, Community Futures. There's the First Peoples Economic Growth Fund, the Louis Riel Capital Corporation, and the Métis Economic Development Growth Fund. Their programs, some of them have money all the time. Some have a limited amount per year. Even if you just know their name, you can Google them, and then you can get their criteria there as well. Women's Enterprise Center, they operate this very similar to us. They're They're in Winnipeg though, and rural. So as long as the business is 51% owned and run by a female, a woman, then you can get money from them. And then the Canada Small Business Financing Program as well. So there are a lot of them out there, but some of the online resources that you can see here, of course, there's us. If you go to this gov.nb.ca/business, it will give you an entire listing of the business resources as well. The BizPal, that'll tell you what sort of permits and things you'll need to operate your business. The World Trade Center, if you need marketing information as well as just some data, they're able to provide that as well. The company's office, this is where you would go to register your business name. The business/financing, that's more financing. This ic.gc.ca, that's for industry statistics. Futurepreneur as well. The BDC, Liquor Gaming, LGA Liquor Gaming Association Manitoba, that must be that website still works, but it's Liquor Gaming and Cannabis now. North Forge, they're in Winnipeg. They have mentoring program as well as a Fab Lab as well, similar to what River College has there. And then here's the Young Entrepreneurs link as well. So what I'll do is I'll email this this PowerPoint out, and you guys can take a look at there. But probably one of the main ones would be this gov.nb.ca/business. They do have a complete listing there for credit resources as well. But there is just, it all really comes down to how much paperwork you want to do on some of these programs, how much time you can spend and on dealing with them, and sort of what sort of security, because the BDC, they'll take no personal security. So maybe, if you have a lot of personal security that you can use, but very little business security, they may not want to fund you. I don't think, so it's basically a balance. Business, personal, it doesn't matter to us as long as it'll sell if things don't go well. And so there's a couple of things that depend, and you kind of have to shop around or just ask us or ask, a banker to see which one of them might fit your situation the best. So basically there's 4 pitfalls that I just want to mention as far as starting the business. The first one is planning. Nobody comes in with a business plan. You got to get start one, even if it's just a couple of paragraphs, good enough. Make sure you do some planning there. So financing, so nobody starts with enough money, or nobody has any money to begin with, or they just don't start with enough. Often we've lent people more money than what they've needed, just because we can see that, further down the road, cash flow is going to be an issue. Marketing is another issue. Not everyone is your customer, and it's hard to get entrepreneurs to realize that, but not everyone wants what you have to sell. And then there's realism is the last one, is, if you want to work for $3 an hour for 16 hours a day for the first 3 years, entrepreneurship may be the thing for you. There'll be many sleepless nights. So just think about that before you, decide to go in anywhere. So that's us. We grow communities. There's all of our social media outlets. And I think that, that does it for my sort of little presentation on what we do, some of the things, how we can help people, and some of those resources that you guys can take a look at and see what might be able to help you, all these credit sources.
You got some applause there, Ken. Thanks very much.
Oh, there you go.
Appreciate all the information. Does anyone have any questions for Ken? It's okay to ask questions at the end too. So hearing none or not seeing any hands up, Andrew, we'll give the floor to you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Great presentation, Ken. I'm just going to share my screen now. So can everyone see my screen?
You got it.
Perfect.
There we go.
So hello, everyone. My name is Andrew. I'm joined by Caroline, the regional manager for Futurepreneurs at Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and the North. So I work primarily in Manitoba. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the Futurepreneur program and how we can sort of help young entrepreneurs succeed. So first off, I'd like to do a land acknowledgement. So as a national organization, Futurepreneur Canada honors and acknowledges the traditional and ancestral territories of the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples across the country. We recognize the diversity of Indigenous peoples and communities from coast to coast, including over 600 First Nation communities, 4 Inuit Nunavut regions comprised of 53 Inuit communities, Métis nations, settlements, regions, and treaties 1 to 11, 25 modern treaties, and all unceded territories. We respect the historic and current relationship Indigenous peoples have to the land on which we reside. And we are also committed to collaborating and establishing respectful relationships with Indigenous peoples by striving to practice reconciliation in our everyday lives, communities, and workplaces. And we encourage everyone to take part in learning the local Indigenous history on the land on which we reside as well. So Futurepreneur is a mission-driven organization. So we're the only national nonprofit organization that's dedicated to providing financing, mentoring, and free business resources to help aspiring and diverse entrepreneurs between the ages of 18 and 39. So some of you might recognize the Heats restaurant. So they actually came through the Futurepreneur program several years ago. So our purpose really is to drive the inclusive Canadian prosperity by fueling the success of young enterprises and entrepreneurs. So our mission is to provide the early stage financing, mentorship, and other resources to help aspiring entrepreneurs between the ages of 18 to 39 to launch successful businesses that really contribute to the sustainable economic development in the communities and for Canada. And one thing to keep in mind is that Futurepreneur can also partner with organizations such as Community Futures to provide that extra lending as well as that mentorship to really help entrepreneurs get started as well. So Futurepreneur actually started 25 years ago as a Canadian Youth Business Foundation. So in the last 25 years, we've actually helped 16,500 plus entrepreneurs get started with their businesses. And this has led to 13,000+ businesses launched across every province and territory in Canada. So as a result, this has led to $186 million in capital, along with mentorship lent out to entrepreneurs to get started with their businesses. So our demographics, so Futurepreneur has about 44% of businesses led by women, 70% of businesses have Black founders, and 5% have Indigenous founders nationwide. In Canada, in Manitoba specifically, we're at about 15 to 17% of businesses with Indigenous founders. So through the Futurepreneur program, 74% of our clients have said we've had a positive impact on their success, and 90% of them felt prepared to launch a business. And this has led to about 5.4 jobs created per business. And so within our community of the Futurepreneur and program, we have 2,400 mentors across Canada, 350 community partners, as well as 100+ dedicated team members across 15 locations in Canada to support entrepreneurship. So Futurepreneur has several programs that will be of interest to the community. So our core startup program includes financing, mentorship, and other resources to support the diverse and young entrepreneurs looking to launch and grow their businesses. So Futurepreneur offers 15 to 20 hours of pre-launch support. This includes speaking with business development managers such as myself and Caroline, as well as our entrepreneurs in residence to really give you that support to build a strong business plan, as well as a fully assessed cash flow as well. So Futurepreneur offers up to $60,000 in collateral-free startup and inclusive loan financing, which includes a 2-to-1 match financing from BDC. We also offer 2 years of one-on-one mentorship to support entrepreneurs who are volunteer mentors. And so entrepreneurs can also get resources and events that can help expand and enhance their business knowledge, as well as resources and access to networks to support their growth. So this core program is for those that are interested in starting a full-time business. And we also understand that there are barriers to entry. So Futurepreneur has dedicated programs such as the Indigenous Entrepreneur Startup Program, as well as the Black Entrepreneur Startup Program, where we have individuals with lived experience from those communities to provide the services and knowledge to support those entrepreneurs. So for the Indigenous Startup Program, we have inclusive startup financing from as low as $5,000 to $60,000. We also have the 2 years of one-on-one expert mentorship, as well as access to resources, networking opportunities, and coaching and support from our team, such as the Core Startup Program as well. For the Black Entrepreneurship Program, it has this similar components of the Indigenous Entrepreneur Startup Program, as well as the Core Program, except that the financing is a little bit different. So $40,000 will actually. So can you still hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, perfect. So for the Black Entrepreneurship Program, $40,000 of the financing actually comes from the Futurepreneur, and $20,000 will come from the BDC. We also have support from the RBC. So for the Black entrepreneurs out there, if you do come through the Futurepreneur program, RBC will provide up to $40,000 in follow-on financing, provided you have 2 years of successful business performance. And like the other programs as well, you would have access to our coaching and support. In terms of the eligibility, Futurepreneur supports those between the ages of 18 and 39 to start their businesses. They have to be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident. And if you are currently a student, you have to be in their final year of study. We can only support businesses that are past the research and development stage. And for those that are looking to start a full-time business or have started a full-time business, you must be in full-time business of less than 12 months in order to qualify for the Futurepreneur Core program. And you also must be willing to work with a mentor for a period of 2 years. And we've had mentors and mentees actually exceed that 2-year period because of the great dynamics and great support they have for each other. And lastly, you'll be able to have to complete and build a viable business plan by the end of the application process. And so this is Tabor Collins. He's actually from Brandon, Manitoba. And Caroline actually has a very good story about him. And this is also where I hand off the rest of the presentation to Caroline. So Caroline, do you want to talk a little bit about Tabor and his business?
Absolutely. So Tabor is the youngest entrepreneur that's come through Futurepreneur Manitoba just after his 18th birthday, with very little credit history. And it's by far still the best business plan that I've received from a Manitoba entrepreneur. So he just celebrated 3 years in business and is doing fantastic, and has also inspired other youth to open up skateboard retail and manufacturing shops as well in Manitoba. So we're very proud of Tabor. And we actually were just out earlier in the month to visit him at the shop to celebrate that 3-year milestone with him. So he did his business plan on his iPhone by using our online business plan writer, which saves your business plan to the cloud. So you don't need to worry about which version you've saved. And if you're like me, you might have 2 or 3 different versions of a document on your desktop that's not as organized as it should be. So this alleviates that for you. And you can download it in PDF form or in Word form to show to business development managers like myself or other community partners. And we know that this resource is actually accessed worldwide. And it is a free resource for anyone to use. So you can advance to the next slide, Andrew. So we do have a side hustle program. So this is for entrepreneurs who are interested in part-time entrepreneurship. And it's a great way for someone to pursue their passion. We provide up to $15,000 in financing. It also includes the 15 to 20 hours of pre-launch support through working with business development managers like myself and Andrew, or our online webinars like our Rock My Business Plan webinars. And also you get the 2 years of one-to-one mentorship. This is Michelle Leclerc with Wolseley Kombucha. So she has an interesting story. She started making kombucha in her kitchen, and then she moved it to her garage and came to us for a side hustle entrepreneur loan. And her side hustle has actually turned into her full-time business now. She has retired from her healthcare business, her healthcare profession. in imaging to pursue entrepreneurship full time. And so, you know, you never know where things can take you. So we always like to say, dream big and start small. And Michelle is definitely a testament to that. She has now her own brewery with a tap room. You can find her in co-op locations and Vita Health all throughout Manitoba. And she as well has also inspired some other entrepreneurs in the region to start their own kombucha brewing business. So you can go to the next slide, Andrew. So eligibility for side hustle is that, again, you're between the ages of 18 and 39, a Canadian citizen or permanent resident. You can demonstrate a household income outside of the business. So we don't just look at full-time personal income, we will consider household income as well. And that there's no intention of converting the business to full-time operations within the next 12 months. So you can see you can really grow things at a slower pace there. If you feel that your business is going to scale fast, then we encourage you to go through our startup program so that you have the working capital that you need to really see the business grow. So we can go to our newcomer offering. So we do have a newcomer offering to entrepreneurs that are new in Canada who won't have a credit history. This program is matched by the BDC. So it's $25,000 in collateral. So $12,500 from Futurepreneur and then $12,500 from the BDC. And the same 15 to 20 hours of pre-launch support, 2 years of one-on-one mentoring, and all the resources and events that are accessible to all of the other entrepreneurs in our lending streams. And you can go to the next slide, Andrew. So the eligibility criteria is that you're between the ages of 18 and 39, that you are a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, have lived in Canada for fewer than 60 months, have a social insurance number that does not begin with 9, and can provide 2 character-based references, at least one being a Canadian citizen, and that you have no established credit history in Canada. So if you're new to Canada, but you do have credit history, you may be eligible for one of our startup programs. And so this is actually go back a slide, Andrew. So this is Brandy Woodhouse. So she is one of our entrepreneurs that actually has her business on reserve. And there aren't a lot of financial institutions that'll support business models like that. But she has an e-commerce lash business, like eyelashes, false eyelashes. She started this business at the beginning of the pandemic, and it just blew up within her own community. She did fantastic. I can't tell you what she did in numbers, but I can tell you it was well into the 6 figures in sales in her first year. So we're very proud of Brandy. So some of our testimonials on our program about our Futurepreneur program. So this is Joanna Griffiths. If you've heard of knixwear, it is a garment wicking, moisture wicking garment, undergarments that are primarily for women and young women as well. And if you're not familiar with her, you will be now, because she's got an amazing story. So in 2013, she came to Futurepreneur because the banks wouldn't give her money. She was even too risky for them to give her a credit card with an amount that she could actually use. And Futurepreneur gave her her first business loan. She had her business plan. She had a couple of bad prototypes, but she had a lot of conviction. So she really has championed the Futurepreneur program. She recently is the first female founder to have the largest exit from her business. So her business was recently purchased with a valuation close to $500 million. So to see where she started her business 9 years ago and to where she is now. So she is now, because she's been just such a great entrepreneur to work with. She's also joined our board of directors as well. So, definitely you can see how there's those gaps when you are a youth entrepreneur. You typically have negative net worth. You're very risky in the eyes of traditional financing. And that's why programs like Futurepreneur exist. It's really to give you that start and that opportunity to level the playing field for entrepreneurship. So you can go to the next slide, Andrew. So how it works. So this is what our process is. So you typically will register through our website, or you'll be referred to us by one of our community referral partners. The organization that Ken works for, Community Futures, they are a great referral partner to Futurepreneur. So they'll put you in touch with Andrew or myself, and then we'll talk to you about your business idea, get you working on your business plan and a 2-year cash flow projection. If you have no idea what those things are, we're going to get you into the Rock My Business webinar series and provide you with some additional supports. Then you're going to apply through our secure online portal, where we're able to do your credit background, like your credit check. And that's where you're going to upload all of your business documents, and you get paired with a client relationship manager. So that client relationship manager is going to work with you to make sure that you've got the necessary things to get your business going. So those are things like your business bank account, like Ken had mentioned, things like your business registration. If you have a retail business or a business that requires a commercial space, we're going to get a copy of your lease agreement. Make sure you have the permits and the licenses that you need to operate your business. Then what happens is that application goes to our adjudication team. So our adjudication team does do some background check on the business, a risk assessment. They go through your business plan and cash flow. This is really important if you are purchasing existing business when it comes to entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurs that are going into a franchise agreement or are looking at purchasing an existing business, we consider that startup as well because it's new to you. So we want to make sure that things are in the best interest for you as a client. And so we do that deep dive into the application. While that's happening, we're also going to do your mentor match. So we're going to pair you with one of our volunteer mentors. You're going to have a guided conversation with that mentor to set up your business mentor-mentee relationship. And when that's done and your application is approved, all the funds are deposited into your business bank account. The one highlight for all of our startup loans and our side hustle loans is the first year is interest-only payments. So we know that that is the tough year for entrepreneurs. Our lending is variable rate. So that's important to note too. So you're not locked into a lending rate when the lending rates end up dropping. Those will fluctuate based on what the prime rate is. So we're really trying to, work with entrepreneurs to maximize their dollars. The Futurepreneur portion of the lending is also an open loan, so it can be paid back at any time without penalty. So Andrew, you can go to our next slide. So if you're curious about, okay, that was a lot of information that's been presented, where do I go now? So if you are at that idea stage, I would consider our Rock My Business webinar series. They're offered every 6 to 8 weeks. If you need help with your business plan, go to our website and take a look at our resources section and register so that one of our business development managers can get in touch with you. If you're looking for financing, don't wait, register right away. And if you don't need financing right away, but you want more information about credit to prepare your application, register through our program so you can take our credit information training video. So some of our program supports, so mentorship, we do provide that 2 years of one-to-one mentorship. And one of the kind of testimonials here, it's all about supporting your mentees in learning rather than trying to give them the answers. So this is from one of our mentors. Good mentors teach you how to fish and forage. This is really important. It's really nice to have somebody that isn't emotionally attached to what you're doing, that really can give you some guidance, and get you thinking about things in different ways, rather than just telling you what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Andrew, you can go to the next slide. So I wanted to tell you, where do you find this online business plan writer? Where do you find these resources? So this is an image of our homepage. So we've got some exciting things. So if you go to that top right-hand corner where it says register, log in, that'll open up another page where it gives you either the application portal or your online business plan writer. Some other things to take note of, if you go into that Get Involved section, that's where you're going to see where our when our Rock My Business Plan webinars are being offered. We also have a partnership with Empower by GoDaddy. So we're running some different webinars with experts from GoDaddy. And we have one coming up on December the 7th on social media marketing. We've done them on search engine optimization, on how to build a website, and we will be repeating those. And there has been some really great opportunities for entrepreneurs because GoDaddy is offering 2 years of free domain and web hosting, plus an additional 6 years at 50% off for entrepreneurs that are registered to take these webinars. So to find those, that's where you would see the Empower by GoDaddy. So it's under the Get Involved. Under Resources, that's where you're going to see links to the cash flow, our YouTube channel. We do have some of our training videos on there as well. Andrew, you can go to that next slide. So a little bit about that Rock My Business series. It is broken up into a 3-part series. First one is Rock My Business Idea, which is how you can really just expand on having an idea. If you're not sure if it's a good idea or where to take it, that's a great workshop to come to. We also have the business plan, where the entrepreneur in residence will go through all the sections of the business plan and highlight some tips and tricks on filling it out. And then there's the deep dive into cash flow. If you are scared of Excel, we're going to fix that for you. Our cash flow document is one of the best tools out there. I know that there's very many financial institutions and post-secondary entrepreneurship courses that actually use our cash flow document. Very easy to use. It gives you first page in the workbook, which is your startup costs, 1 and 2nd year financial projections, and then also gives you the last page in the workbook as an income statement. So this is great to use. Really to get going on getting that business launched. These webinars are free. They do not have to be taken in order, so you can kind of pick and choose which ones you'd like to go to. Definitely choose the one that suits your schedule best. They are not recorded. because we want entrepreneurs to feel like it's a very safe place to share ideas and ask questions. So you do have to attend in order to benefit from those programs. Andrew, you can go to the next slide, please. So business plan and cash flows are fundamental. This is our resource section. So you can see here where you can get access to the online business plan writer and the business cash flow templates. You can see under more resources in the gray area, we have articles, we have our crash courses, we have tips and tools. What's great about that online business plan writer, it also gives you examples. If you're like, I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to write here, it'll give you some examples based on different types of businesses and industry on how to fill out those sections. And what's great about it is that the online business plan writer just asks you a series of questions and it'll build out that business plan. Andrew, you can go to that next slide. We have a growth accelerator program. So entrepreneurs that have been in business at least a year and have had $20,000 or more in revenue are eligible for our growth accelerator program. So this program includes skill building workshops with industry experts, networking opportunities, and one-on-one consulting. It is in partnership with large companies such as Spin Master, Denton's, and Ramp Communications. And you're with a cohort of entrepreneurs from all across Canada. You can go to that next slide, Andrew. So we have our G20 Young Entrepreneur Alliance. So Futurepreneur is the proud co-founder of the official Canadian organization representing the G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance. We've been doing that since 2010. It's a forum for young Canadian entrepreneurs to inform policy, advance their businesses globally, and make international connections and increase exports. Each year, this experience proves to be critical for the growth of the 45 entrepreneurs that attend the summit through the Futurepreneur program. So a little bit about that. On average, 30 new international contacts are made. 132 business-to-business meetings, and 88 of them are actually facilitated by Futurepreneur. And it increases awareness and services available for international expansion. So in Manitoba, we had 4 entrepreneurs go this year in person to Hamburg, Germany. If anybody's familiar with Coal and Canary candles, so Amanda Busey, the founder of Coal and Canary, this was actually her second time attending, and she isn't a Futurepreneur supported entrepreneur with her startup. This program is eligible to anybody who is an entrepreneur who's under the age of 40. So like I said, you don't have to be a Futurepreneur client to take advantage of that program. We want to make it accessible as much as we can. And the applications for this program will open up again in April. So that is Futurepreneur, I guess, in a nutshell. So thank you so much for giving us the floor so that Andrew and I could tell you a little bit about Futurepreneur and some of the entrepreneurs that we've supported.
Thank you very much, Andrew and Caroline. Does anyone have any questions for Andrew or Caroline?
I guess one thing for the for the participants here, I mean, there's an awful lot out there. There is no shortage of entrepreneurship assistance. There's no shortage of free stuff, online business planning, even paper books that you're going to get in the mail now. So the key is just find a business advisor that you can work with, that you like, that isn't in it for their own advancement, that's in it for you, the entrepreneur, and just work with them to find out what works best for you and what programs work. So either Andrew or Caroline or myself, or we're all in that category to help you, not to discourage you or overflood you with information. So we can definitely help you with whatever you need.
Yeah, and we all play nice in the sandbox together.
That's right.
So
Yeah, a lot of the banks have online business plans as well. Some of them are obvious. Well, a lot of the banks are obviously heavily leveraged to what they want to see and what they need. So yeah, we do recommend the Futurepreneur one as well. I mean, it's I'm not sure if clients go on it, are they able to share the business plan with somebody else?
Yes, because they can
Okay.
download it. Yeah, they can
okay.
download it. So yeah, they can do Word or PDF. So
Okay.
I always say Word if you want some notes in there,
Right.
and PDF if you're ready with it to submit to show somebody.
Great, wonderful. I don't
Yeah.
see any hands up. I don't see any microphones coming
I
off.
will.
Carolyn?
I will answer one question that sometimes is thought of, and not asked in the moment. So, what happens if you have partners in the business that are over the age of 39? So, as long as 51% of the business is owned and operated by youth entrepreneurs, that works. So, we can have a variety of like multiple owners. With the business, just as long as the majority is youth entrepreneurs. So I do see that there are some opportunities where we do succession planning as well for businesses. We see that a lot in trades and in agriculture. Um, and then also sometimes there are great examples of where we have an entrepreneur who's retiring and doesn't have family to take over the business, but their employees do. So we're able to work with that as well because the business, even though the employees have been working in the business, entrepreneurship and being a business owner is new to them. So we still consider that to be startup, and it is eligible for Futurepreneur lending.
And just to add, we can also support parents and adult children as well that are age eligible to do the exact same thing as well.
And then the one thing that we didn't have in our slide is what happens if you are in tech? And given that this is, being hosted virtually through the Innovation Center there. So we do have fast track partnerships with incubators and accelerators like North Forge. We have them right across Canada. So if entrepreneurs are in late stage research and development, they are able to access quick lending up to $20,000 just from Futurepreneur. They don't get the mentor for that program because they are working with a mentor through their incubator or accelerator. So we don't want to over mentor the entrepreneur at that point. So, and that lending on average is dispersed between 10 and 14 business days to the entrepreneur. So we've seen some great companies take advantage of that. Skip the Dishes was one of them that came through Futurepreneur, and also worked with a few other programs in the province. We have actually some young entrepreneurs right now that came through the Lab to Market program that's hosted through University of Manitoba with an app as well. So when we see entrepreneurs, if you've seen a little bubble in your intersection up above the traffic lights, that's micro traffic. They are doing risk analysis on the intersection for collision. They're also an entrepreneur, a business that came through our fast track partnership. So definitely there's lots of ways that we can support entrepreneurs in Manitoba.
Wonderful. And something that I should have done at the start along with the land acknowledgement. Thank you very much, Andrew, for taking that on. Just to let everyone know, the Portage Innovation Center is a 768 square foot space, and it's on the bottom floor of Red River College Polytech in Portage La Prairie, which is at 32 5th Street Southeast. And it's a partnership between Red River College Polytech and Communities Building Youth Futures. And we are in the business of helping entrepreneurs and innovators discover their ideas, whether it's a business idea or a product idea. And we're working really hard to try and create a community of innovators supporting innovation within the city. So this is something that we're wanting to grow. The space has room for 4 entrepreneurs in residence. So if you're the next Jeff Bezos, rather than having to do it in your garage, we've got 4 very nice office spaces for you to work on your business or product idea, where you can set up your very first office. You can leave things there and have it up and running. And people who are using that entrepreneur in residence space have access to Red River College Polytech business students for doing your financials, helping you with marketing, business planning, along with these other free resources that you heard about tonight. You'll also have access to our administrative assistant students to help you arrange meetings that are critical to your success, help you make appointments, and help you with event planning. And then if your business or product idea requires tech expertise, we can plug you into the tech students in our Winnipeg location at Red River College Polytech as well. We've done a lot of work at the Innovation Center, so we have a menu of Portage business people who want to help you succeed, and they're going to donate their time in order to provide you with advice on legal issues, networks in Portage, more banking, insurance, and a whole bunch more. And in order to help entrepreneurs with prototyping or small-scale manufacturing, we have a Fab Lab that's attached to the entrepreneur space. And we have a laser engraver machine, Cricut 3 maker machine, which does vinyl cutting, 3D printer, assortment of small hand tools, multifunction printer, as well as a sewing machine. And if anyone is interested, you can send me an email at gmoffat@rrc.ca, or just give the college a phone call. And for those of you who weren't able to make notes fast enough, no worries. We're going to be posting up the recording on our newly formed YouTube channel. We'll make sure we get the link to you. And if you haven't had the opportunity yet, this is one in a series of workshops that we're bringing to Portage La Prairie from the Portage Innovation Center. Next week on December 8th, Intellectual Property Canada is going to be talking to us about inventing the next big thing and why patents matter. So if you've ever wondered about trademarks, patents, intellectual property, copyrights, that's going to be an hour-long presentation as well, and you'll be able to learn all about that. And then on December the 15th, we also, yes, in Futurepreneur. And on the 15th, there's a session on when to register your business name or when to incorporate, as well as some marketing tips for your new business. And that is going to conclude this evening. I really appreciate everybody showing up. I appreciate our presenters, Ken, Caroline, and Andrew, for your time. And Ken is on the list, our menu of people in the community to help out entrepreneurs, and so is Futurepreneur. So thank you everyone for your time tonight, and have a great rest of your evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.